UFC Vegas 67 just recently wrapped up, and during the event, some major fight news was dropped. Jon Jones is fighting Ciryl Gane for the vacant UFC heavyweight title. Francis Ngannou has been released from the UFC. Also, Rafael Fiziev and Justin Gaethje are throwing down. So we are doing the recap of UFC Vegas 67, and then I'm going to give you guys my reaction to these major news stories that just dropped. Make sure you guys smash the likes, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And let's first talk some UFC Vegas 67. Charles Johnson, Jimmy Flick, first fight of the night. Johnson did exactly what he needed to, stop the grappling attacks of Jimmy Flick and beat the shit out of him. It was one-way traffic, was not close. TKO for Charles Johnson. Jimmy Flick retired from the sport like 2 years ago. I was questioning his motivation coming in. He really has not improved his striking whatsoever, and it is a serious hole in his game that's going to get him smashed by anybody with some decent takedown defense and jiu-jitsu. So he really needs to work to stand up. Charles Johnson, you know what? Most impressive UFC win yet, and he's getting some footing in the company. I like what I saw for Charles Johnson. Fun guy to watch. Good flyweight fight to start off 2023 for the UFC. Next matchup on the card, Dan Argueta and Nick Aguirre. Argueta actually had a harder time with Nick than you would have probably expected. A guy taking it on 4 days notice, coming in, giving an okay out. Argueta, the better wrestler, did some things with the stand-up, but at points Aguirre had his back. Really didn't like this fight. I didn't find it super impressive on either side. It looked to me like a regional scene fight inside of the UFC octagon, but Argueta definitely deserved the win. Fair decision. I'd assume they'll keep Aguirre around for at least 1 or 2 more because they already signed him, but I don't think he's ready for UFC. And even Argueta at this point, I think that he's not necessarily ready for what tide is going to turn with the higher level at 45. Maybe he'll drop back down to 35. I don't know, but I do have to say was not overly impressed by this fight. I actually thought it was kind of crappy, and more so towards the skill set level that you'll see on the regional scene, not even the top guys necessarily. Not to say these guys are bad fighters, and obviously serious improvements can be made, but not super impressive. But Argueta, though, clean win, deservingly so, and congrats to entering the UFC, W section with a big win in this one. Next fight on the card, Allan Nascimento made easy work of Carlos Hernandez. He got his back when they were dry and choked him out. I think Nascimento is somebody to watch at 125 pounds, trains with the likes of, top level, right? Charles Oliveira, that Shoot Their Box team. You got Willie Cat over there too. So you got savages that he's working with all the time. And you can see he's really starting to develop. I really like the stand-up. He landed a good front kick early. The jiu-jitsu's A1 as expected. Big win for Nascimento. And I think that he's a fun guy at 125 pounds. He's got a big frame. He looks like a 45er, to be honest. Even when he's doing the interview, like he looks almost as tall as Paul Felder. And he's 125, so pretty big for the weight class. As long as he's making weight, I think he can give some guys some problems. Let's keep running. We got more to talk about. Next matchup, Mateusz Rębecki and Nick Fiore. Listen, Nick Fiore is tough as fuck, but Rębecki ran through him. I will say this, not overly impressed with Rębecki. He goes hard for punches and throws 100% into everything, which isn't always super effective. Also, he has solid wrestling and grappling control, but realistically, I think that when he fights guys that are, kind of more well-rounded or just prepared for the matchup, he's going to struggle a bit against certain guys. Towards the top end, I do think he can bully some back-end guys. He's really jacked and pretty physically strong, but he's short for the weight class at 5'7". He doesn't have dynamic, crazy power. He hits hard, but I'm not thinking that he brings the Michael Chandler heat in his hands. And he's at 55. I think Rębecki needs to get his body down to 145, and I think he'd have more success there. But still, good win for him. Nick Fiore, welcome to the UFC. Tough motherfucker. Took a beating, but still was able to persevere through and take some damage, but keep on coming. So I got mad respect for him. Next one, Razak Alhassan. He knocked out Claudio Ribeiro. Holy hell. He fucking did it, man. Alhassan comes back with a vengeance here in this fight. He needed it. He actually showed some veteran savvy tactics like clinching against the cage, shooting for takedowns. He hurt Ribeiro with big punches. Ribeiro's covering up. He went down. Good stoppage by the ref. Alhassan has serious knockout power. And it's not to say Ribeiro doesn't have potential in the UFC, but he's got to get that weight cut dialed in. Maybe he could even make 170 pounds. Alhassan gave him that veteran lesson and knocked him out. It was a good performance for him, finally getting some footing again in the UFC. I do think Alhassan is a really fun back-end guy to watch, but he's going to be used as a stepping stone in the future. But he hits hard. And he can do some damage, and he's fun to watch. Next fight on the card, featured prelim. Javid, Basharat, and Mateus Mendonça. Listen, Javid Basharat's kickboxing skill set is very quality because Mendonça's good with the Muay Thai, beastly style, trains, obviously with the likes of Charles Oliveira, Nascimento, but he's mad young. Super tough, incredible toughness, right? From the side of Mendonça. Even had moments against Basharat where he's landing big shots. He's 23, about to be 24. He's got so much time in this game. You can see the marinating of skills over the years for Javid Basharat is better than what we got right now with Mendonça. So great performance for Basharat. Not an easy win. Now he calls for a ranked guy. Chris Gutierrez was the exact name. I don't like that matchup for him. I think Chris Gutierrez has too much power. I think Chris Gutierrez's leg kicks are a problem. I think Chris Gutierrez can hurt Javid Basharat. But the 3-fight UFC win streak he's got going, it'd be hard to deny him an opportunity to fight someone towards the top. So you know what? Don't hate the idea. Don't think he'll get that name. But I don't hate if you give him a ranked guy next. But I really would probably push it towards one more before that point. Because the rankings are serious. Once it's rankings, it's uphill from there. If not, then you're put to, the back end. Is Basharat ready to make that turn towards the best guys in the world? I don't think just yet, but he is a very good fighter. He's only 27. I think do another 1 or 2 against guys outside the rankings. But he wants ranked. Main card time. If you guys haven't, make sure you smash that like button. It's Umar Nurmagomedov and Hani Barcelos. Listen, this knockout was fucking terrifying. Holy shit. Freaking knee up the center that doesn't land, but it causes Barcelos to drop his hands. Left hook, Umar flatlines him, and then he followed up with a hammer fist, and he felt terrible about it after. Umar, he said that he hasn't flatlined somebody like that before, so obviously it was like, holy shit, I just knocked this guy out. And he, even when he looked at Barcelos, you could tell he felt bad for him. Gotta say, I like Umar Nurmagomedov a lot. This is the cousin of Khabib. I think he's a problem at 135 pounds. Barcelos, man, what is it, 3 out of the last 4? 35, brutal knockout loss. He's going to need some time off. I don't think there's a chance he gets towards those rankings again at this point. And I think Umar Nurmagomedov is a fighter to watch from Dagestan that not only can wrestle, he can strike, he can punch, he can kick, he can do a bit of everything, and he's actually pretty damn athletic. I like his flow and flair. He's pretty decent, even with his speaking skills on the mic. So yeah, I'm an Umar Nurmagomedov fan coming forward. So good W for him, impressive style, good win for Team Dagestan. Shows they can knock people out too. They don't just wrestle. Next fight on the card, Rocky Pennington, Ketlen Vieira. Robbery. First round was Ketlen Vieira. She had more pressure, more significant strikes. Second round was definitely Rocky Pennington. She had great moments. Third round, Ketlen Vieira was on her with pressure, landing shots, backed her up and controlled her against the cage, and did more damage in the third round. Clear, 29-28, Ketlen Vieira. The judges fucked this one, and they also fucked a huge matchup in the weight class, which would have been Amanda Nunes fighting against Rocky Pennington. That's a fight that I was very interested in. Excuse me, what did I just say? Amanda Nunes and Ketlen Vieira, not with Rocky Pennington. Now, we might be working towards a Rocky Pennington-Nunes rematch. And it's not to say Rocky hasn't improved. She definitely has. And it's not to say that I even think Ketlen Vieira would be a challenge for Nunes, but I just want a new face there. I think Amanda Nunes and Raquel Pennington goes exactly the same as the first fight. Probably a beating for 4 or 5 rounds. Maybe Rocky makes it the distance, but she's going to get dominated. Ketlen Vieira, I think she would lose to Nunes too, to be 100% honest. But at least it's new blood, new matchup. The way she fights is very entertaining. She'll sit in the pocket and just mix it up. And maybe she could land something crazy on Amanda Nunes. Now we don't get that because of bad judging. This, for me, black eye for this whole event right here. Bad scorecard. It was a marquee fight, number 1 contender women's matchup, and the judges fucked it. Ketlen Vieira deserved the win here. Let's keep running. Next fight. Roman Kopylov, Soriano. Oh my God. Roman Kopylov destroyed him. Listen, from now on, if you're thinking about picking Soriano, betting Soriano in the future with certain matchups, remember, if it's not going his way early, he's not going to win the fight. He only knows pressure, power, punches. He does not sit there and get technical. Roman Kopylov jabbed his face off, out kickboxed him, destroyed him with body kicks. It started with that spin body kick, and then it was just more damage throughout the entire thing. One-sided beating. Kopylov gets the KO, TKO. He's honestly looking pretty nice. I mean, I always think Kopylov is like 25 because he looks like a child in his face, but he's 31, so it's kind of like, that prime time now. I don't know where his ceiling lies. I do think fun fights on the horizon for him, and he is a pretty good striker, but Soriano might be out of a job, man. I could see him getting picked up by Bellator, but I don't know. Not a good performance even in loss, man. He looked very one-dimensional, and I don't like what I saw. Great win, though, for Roman Kopylov, who tore him to pieces. Let's get to the co-main event. Co-main event of the evening, Dan Ige versus Damon Jackson. Listen, Action Jackson brought the heat and made it a fun fight while it lasted, but Dan Ige just had the better striking clearly, and there was no takedowns that really Jackson could land with much. Like, he landed one, I believe, controlled really for a second. Ige's back up in the clinch, same type of thing. Ige was ripping him with punches, and there was a break for an eye poke that wasn't an eye poke. Ige actually just busted up his eye with punches in the eye, and the glove kind of touched it, which is not illegal, so weird pause. But then clean knockout win, flatline. Damon Jackson goes out after Ige lands a big hook. Done. Fight. Walk-off KO. Dan Ige's got power. I said he's got power before, and damn, he really showed it here, beating Damon Jackson. You can't count Dan Ige out. I know he's lost to the best guys, but he's lost to the best guys. Damon Jackson hasn't fought that, next level. I mean, granted, Ilia Topuria is a guy. That was a guy who knocked him out, who's also top caliber. Dan Ige, for me, very impressive win. Keeps him at, the upper echelon of the weight class. And it's going to be interesting moving forward. What are the matchups for Dan Ige? He's got real good striking, and there's fun stylistic matchups for him. I don't know about, title aspirations, but still, the guy's still a ranked dude, and he's going to be a problem for guys on the come up. And I like Dan Ige's style. Very fan-friendly style. Good win for Dan. Main event. Balls on Sean Strickland are enormous. That's what he said in the post-fight interview, metaphorically speaking. Listen, he beat Nasruddin Imavov in a kickboxing match at Nasruddin's own game. Sean Strickland on short notice came through, got the win. Yes, he was 10 pounds heavier at the weigh-ins, but he wasn't preparing for a fight. He was out eating pizza last week, and now he's in the cage of a UFC main event. Back-to-back main events. The last one, he felt he got robbed against Jared Cannonier, very close decision. And then this one here, he fights Nasruddin Imavov, clean win, 49-46. I like what I saw from Sean Strickland. He's damn hard to hit. He mixes it up with the combos well, and there's no quitting him. Nasruddin Imavov was like a tire that had a hole in it. It was just deflating. Granted, even very late, as exhausted as he was, he tried to mix it up back with Sean Strickland. So there is heart there on Nasruddin Imavov. But the gas tank, he definitely shows significant decrease in output and range management as it gets later into the fight. But Sean Strickland, great win for him. Gets it done over Nasruddin Imavov and reclaims his spot as a guy to keep an eye on still in this weight class. And I actually think he's earned a massive fight. You call it a controversial decision against Cannonier. He's pushed that narrative. A lot of people agree. You beat Nasruddin Imavov. There's a matchup on the horizon between him and a top guy, certainly. I'll drop the every fight to make video tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune into that. But a great main event, great win for Sean Strickland. Pretty fun card. Wasn't like the banger of banger cards, but solid main event. I'd give it, a good B, B+, good fight. The matchups were pretty solid. There were some sweet KOs, good wars. I liked it, man. And if we start from bottom to top, I want to do the picks review. Charles Johnson I won with. Dan Argueta I won with. Allan Nascimento win. Mateusz Rębecki win. Lost with Alhassan. So we're looking at 4-1. One with Javid Basharat. That brings us to 5-1. One with Umar Nurmagomedov. 6-1. Lost with Vieira, but we should have won. That brings us to 6-2, but it should be 7-1. Lost with Kopylov. That brings us 6-3. But then we win the last two. 7-3. 8-3 for the night, but my honest 9-2. That's what I felt like I went if my scorecards were written and read off. So overall, UFC Vegas 67 was a good card. I want to talk about more than just this card though, because we got news, and I'll definitely have it time stamped up for the people watching. So you'll probably, some of you, be jumping just to this section right here. Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane is going down for the UFC heavyweight title. Yes, Francis Ngannou has said he is leaving the UFC now. He's released. His mother was wearing a PFL shirt, so there was little rumors being whispered around. We had a feeling that he wasn't going to re-sign. Dana White said the contract dispute, it was just too much. They couldn't come up with something. He's claiming, this is what Dana White said. He said, we offered Francis Ngannou a contract that trumps the contract that we had given Brock Lesnar. It was a deal that more than anybody in history had done at heavyweight, and he turned that deal down. Don't know the exact figures. Maybe it was only $500K or even $1 million, but he's looking at PFL thinking, I can make more. So I'm assuming the PFL and him are already in talks, and he's going to be signing there, especially with the hint that his mother wore the shirt. And now you got Jon Jones and Gane for the title. I'm so interested in this fight. It's a weird one because Jon Jones' wrestling capabilities are some of the best, period. He's training at Fight Ready. Dude, seeing Gane get taken down by Ngannou, I think Jon Jones has a real chance to be able to out-wrestle Ciryl Gane and maybe even win by submission. I think my early prediction, it might be Jon Jones, guys. Yeah, I'm going to early pick Jon Jones. I love Ciryl Gane just as much as the next guy. And as we get closer to the fight, maybe my official pick will end up changing. But it's going down. This was leaked off like the billboard in front of the, I believe, was it the MGM Grand? Or the T-Mobile Arena, rather, had a billboard that came through that wasn't really supposed to drop. But it announced Jones-Gane fight for the belt at heavyweight, UFC 285 main event. You couldn't ask for anything better than this. This is incredible. This fight is going to be great. I cannot wait to see it. Jon Jones finally doing it, moving up to heavyweight, and Gane's the perfect matchup. I love this fight, guys. Like I'm giddy about this fight. Jon Jones hasn't fought since the controversial win over Dominic Reyes, who now is on a terrible losing streak and is getting knocked out every fight. Ciryl Gane just beat Tai Tuivasa, the heavy-handed savage in Tai Tuivasa. He lost to Francis Ngannou in a very close split decision, one that I think could have went his way, and one that I also would like to see run back. So Ngannou leaving the UFC, it's killing me. I'm honestly really upset that he's leaving the UFC. It hurts to see him leave because I really feel like Jones and Ngannou is one of the biggest fights in UFC history still, because the hardest puncher ever versus the GOAT. And then if you think about Gane versus Ngannou 2, we'll get questions answered. Now we do Jon Jones-Gane. I thought this fight would happen sometime in the future. Maybe if Jon Jones had beaten Gane, or maybe even if, Ngannou had beaten Jon Jones. I don't know. Things could have went one way or another at some point. But we get this matchup now. It's a very interesting one. I'm very curious to see Ciryl Gane's takedown resistance against a Jon Jones that looks massive, that walks around at about 240 pounds. I saw on Twitter him announcing it on Cejudo's show. He looks thick. He looks like a real heavyweight now. So a lot of questions are going to be answered about Jon Jones very soon. Cannot wait for it. I'll early lean Jon Jones, which might be crazy. I saw he was about the minus 200 favorite, and Gane sitting at, I believe, the plus 150 underdog tag. Yeah, man. What a fucking crazy turn of events. What a crazy card. It turns into UFC Vegas 67 with huge news that was released, so I had to talk about it. There's more. I'm not sending you guys off just yet. Also note this. Gaethje and Fiziev is going down. Yeah, Rafael Fiziev, Justin Gaethje, UFC 286 in London. This is a great fight to put on the card. Guaranteed banger of a matchup. Holy shit. I really feel like, holy smokes, this is kind of crazy. The pick on this one, early leaning, is like almost near impossible for me to make. As I'm thinking about the matchup and how good Gaethje's low kicks are, but how nice Fiziev's hooks are, how hittable Gaethje is, but also the fact that if you look, I mean, guys have tested him before. Fiziev also has been tested. What a fucking fight, man. Yeah, the early lean is like a coin flip on this one. I think I have to go Fiziev for the momentum and the fact that we saw Gaethje badly knocked out against Charles Oliveira. He's been taking a bit of damage, right? Getting hit with those big punches. Fiziev's definitely got the kickboxing chops. I think who has the better boxing wins the fight. I'm going to say it's Fiziev. So I'm going to pick Fiziev to end up knocking out Justin Gaethje. And he's a potential challenger for the lightweight belt moving forward, and a real matchup that I think would get people excited, assuming Islam Makhachev gets through Alexander Volkanovski, which you guys, if you follow the channel, you know I think that. Those two facing off, Fiziev and Makhachev, is the striker versus grappler fight in 2023. I would probably lean towards Islam, but we'll see. Depends how it looks against Gaethje. I'm going to pick Fiziev, though, early to get it done, but take these early picks with a grain of salt, because as I get closer to the event, as I start watching some film, there's a chance that I flip-flop one way or another. Either way, breaking news, marquee matchups, super excited. The Jones and Gane fight does major numbers. I can't wait to see Jon Jones finally back inside of the octagon. Legacy on the line, UFC heavyweight belt. He'd be a two-weight champ now. And then Fiziev Gaethje. It's probably, for Fiziev, the number one contender fight in the lightweight division. I mean, if Gaethje wins, there's even a claim that he could end up trying to get back. Oh, my style would match up better against Islam than it did against Khabib, or better than it did against Oliveira. Granted, I think for Fiziev, the win is title shot. For Gaethje, he might end up needing one more. Either way, major fight news. Big event that just took place in UFC Vegas 67. This has turned into a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed the rant. Make sure to smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Definitely let me know what you think of the full event. Let me know what you think of the Jones-Gane fight. Give me your pick for the matchup, and also for the Fiziev-Gaethje fight. Are you excited for these fights? And are you damn excited for Sean Strickland moving forward? Because I got a matchup idea that I'm going to drop on every fight to make tomorrow that I think some people will be in for, and I think it'll sell. Much love, people. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.